So yeah, Biden got canceled today. Canceled himself graciously. And honestly, doesn't even matter. You don't walk by who's in charge of America. The God you serve doesn't deal just with America. He really knows when that kid in Africa can't read. And he really cares that that kid in Africa can't read. He can't read his word. I've known, not personally, but people who have done mission work, and India is a very popular one for whatever reason. Possibly the Edomites. Don't really know. Not a historian. But your job is greater than worrying about the president of America. You can reach more people. You affect more people. Maybe not literally, but you more affect people by the way that you walk around in the grocery store than when the president hikes up grocery prices, because you don't know if that person needs a smile that day, or what people are going through. It's hits my heart. And on the heels of Psalm 30 and the realization of grand righteousness in the name of Messiah, unconsciously, subconsciously, in that we're not serving Messiah the way that I pick up this phone. We're serving Messiah in the way that we exist. And so, in your celebrations, don't forget to celebrate your salvation. Because a guy 2,000 years ago did more for you than anybody in the last 100 years. Or probably the next 100 years. So, celebrate him and his Father, YHWH Elohim. Let's pray.
Father YHWH, you are sovereign over all things, and Yeshua is King. We bow to you humbly, putting our face in the dirt, asking you to open up our hearts and be a helper to us in all of our missions, that they work for your kingdom to the best of our ability, that we can be full and satisfied in doing your work and your labor, and reap all the blessings of your hand. Father, let your word speak through me tonight, that the people may be led closer to you, and that your name be glorified. And Yeshua is above all names. In Yeshua's name I pray. Amen.
Okay, now. Short reading tonight, Psalm 31 and 32. Let's get down to it. In you, O YHWH, I have taken refuge. Let me never be ashamed. Deliver me in your righteousness. Incline your ear to me. Deliver me speedily. Be a rock of refuge to me, a house of defense to save me. For you are my rock and my stronghold. For your name's sake, lead me and guide me. Bring me out of the net which they have hidden for me, for you are my stronghold. Into your hand I commit my spirit. You have redeemed me, O Yahweh, El of truth. I have hated those who observe lying vanities, but I trust in Yahweh. I exult and rejoice in your loving commitment. For you have seen my affliction. You have known the distresses of my life, and you have not shut me up in the hand of the enemy. You have set my feet in a large place. Show me favor, O Yahweh, for I am in distress. My eye, my being, and my body have become old with grief. For my life is consumed in sorrow, and my years in sighing. My strength fails because of my crookedness, and my bones have become old. I am a reproach among all my adversaries, but most of all among my neighbors, and a dread to my friends. Those who see me outside flee from me. I have forgotten like someone dead from the heart. I have been like a missing vessel, for I hear the evil report of many. Fear is from all around. When they take counsel together against me, they plot to take away my life. But I have put my trust in you, O Yahweh. I have said, you are my Elohim. My times are in your hand. Deliver me from the hand of my enemies, and from those who pursue me. Make your face shine upon your servant. Save me in your loving commitment. Do not let me be ashamed, O Yahweh, for I have called upon you. Let the wrong be ashamed. Let them be silenced in Sheol. Let lips of falsehood be stilled, which speak recklessly against the righteous, with pride and scorn. How great is your goodness, which you have hidden from those fearing you, which you have prepared for those taking refuge in you. In the sight of the sons of men, you shall conceal them in the concealment of your presence. You shall hide them from the plots of man in a shelter from the strife of tongues. Blessed be Yahweh, for he has made marvelous his loving commitment to me in a strong city. And I have said in my haste, I am cut off from before your eyes. Yet you heard the voice of my prayers when I cried out to you. Love Yahweh, all you his lovingly committed ones, for Yahweh guards the trustworthy ones and exceedingly repays the doer of pride. Be strong, and let him fortify your heart, all you who are waiting for Yahweh. Boy, every word of this book is true. You know. And it's really nice to see. I mean, we've got like 150 Psalms here, but it's really nice to see, like, we know David's story. A lot of this book is about David. And, like, you know, more than almost any other character. Mashiach's got obviously, like, you know, a lot, but those 4 Gospels, I don't know if they're as long as the Psalms. Maybe they are. Don't test me on that. But the point is that we've got a man who we know his actions. We've seen his works. We've seen his interactions with Yahweh. And we'll see in the next psalm and in some other psalms, but we'll see in 32 definitely, Yahweh responds to him. And we know that he had a good relationship with Elohim. Probably it would have been cool too to see a guy like Abraham. We've got a couple songs by Moses, Exodus 15, Deuteronomy 32. I think there's another one too. Maybe there's not. But I think it would be cool to have seen Abraham's, like, Psalms of Abraham, you know, and see how he sang glory to Elohim, because I would venture that he did regularly. We definitely don't, you know, it's one thing to sit here and talk about it, it's another thing to read the word. They're all different ways of worship, and when you're truly singing your heart out for, I'm looking at these books that look like they're like stacked very precariously. I don't even know how they got that way. Sorry, I got distracted. When you're singing your heart out for Elohim, it's a completely different feeling of love and vulnerability. If you've ever sang a child to sleep, there's or you watch your worship band, like when they're up there for that 20 minutes and they're just singing their heart out, even it's one thing for them to be a good singer, it's a whole nother thing for them to really belt and let their spirit shine. It is beautiful. And you definitely just have a whole nother experience when you're singing. Join me in singing the Psalms. Even if you're as bad a singer as I am. Praise be to Yahweh that 150 Psalms later, I'll figure it out. Every day, repetition, practice. If you're distancing yourself from Elohim, you're going to be out of touch with him. So, very important to have diligence in your relationship. Period. Diligence in every relationship, just like a wife. But the irony is that we're the husband, we're the bride to Messiah. In you, O Yahweh, I have taken refuge. I've quoted how many times Psalm 7:1 and 9:9, which means that at this point there's probably 4 other examples of him being our refuge, and we're going to remember Psalm 31:1 as that as well. I don't know, 14 maybe. Be my refuge, my deliverance. I've been saved by his blood, Yahweh and Yeshua. Psalm 23 was quoted a couple of times to me today. It's talked about many times. And we need to be conversational with our ability to know the scriptures and our identification of the scriptures. Just like Messiah was. There's a better one than this, but even like in Matthew 24, and he shall send his messengers with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his chosen ones from the 4 winds, from one end of the heavens to the other. So when you see the abomination that lays waste, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, set up in the set apart place, he who reads, let him understand. The one that I'm looking for is Isaiah rightly prophesied about you. And he shall reward each according to his works. You go through Matthew. Oh, this is it. Matthew 15:7. Hypocrites! Yeshayahu rightly prophesied about you, saying, This people draw near to me with their mouth and respect me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. But in vain they do worship me, teaching as teachings the command of men. Yeah, so we should be able to identify and recompense with Scripture among brothers and sisters. Experienced my first female sermon today, which personally was nice. It was a nice, delicate touch. The Spirit was moving, and you know, this is, yeah. There are certain churches and times where pastors are just going through the book and the Spirit's not moving, but just because something's unconventional about a church does not mean that the Spirit's not there, or the person. In you, O Yahweh, I have taken refuge. Let me never be ashamed. Deliver me in your righteousness. Incline your ear to me. Deliver me speedily. I am coming speedily, and my reward is with me, to give to each according to his works. We just read that in Matthew 17, I want to say. Prophesied by Isaiah. Matthew 16:27. But then it's also Revelation 22:12. And see, I am coming speedily, and my reward is with me, to give to each according to his work. So, yeah. Be a rock of refuge to me, a house of defense to save me. I also want to hit James here while we're talking about speed and I think it's James. There is so much knowledge coming in the epistles. We're going to rock these. I thought it was James, and I still think it's James, but it might be Peter. Second Peter 3:8. Which is actually a psalm. But beloved one, let not this one matter be hidden from you, that with Yahuwah 1 day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as 1 day. So we'll be reading Psalm 90 in a couple weeks here, and we'll get into that, because that's a important verse as far as our consideration of speedily. A house of defense to save me. We know that Yahweh gave David his house. I think we saw this in 16 and 17. No, maybe it was 26, 27. Twenty-six 8. Yahweh, I have loved the abode of your house, and the place, the dwelling place of your esteem. Two separate places. And he's describing him as a house of defense, more than just a physical house. For you are my rock and my stronghold. For your name's sake, lead me and guide me. We know Isaiah 26 8. Trust in Yahweh forever, for in Yahweh is a rock of ages. Bring me out of the net which they have hidden for me, for you are my stronghold. The concept of a rock, I shall build my church upon this rock. What is the rock? This came up, I was watching George Janko last night about Cliff, Matthew 13. Not Matthew 13. 16? Yep, twice missed 16. Sorry. Okay. And here we're going to go into what the rock is. Matthew 16:13. Now when Yeshua came into the parts of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his taught ones, saying, Who do men say the Son of Man is? And they said, Some say Yohanan the Immerser, and others Eliyahu, and others Yirmiyahu, or one of the prophets. He said to them, And you, who do you say I am? And Shimon Kepha answering said, You are the Messiah, the Son of the living Elohim. And Yeshua answering said to him, Blessed are you, Shimon bar Yonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father in the heavens. And I also say to you that you are Kepha, and on this rock I shall build my assembly, and the gates of Sheol shall not overcome it. And I shall give you the keys of the reign of the heavens. And whatever you bind on earth shall be having been bound in the heavens, and whatever you loosen on earth shall be having been loosened in the heavens. And he warned his tall ones that they should say to no one that he is Yeshua the Messiah. From that time Yeshua began to show his taught ones that it was necessary for him to go to Jerusalem and to suffer much from the elders and chief priests and scribes and be killed and to be raised again the third day. And Kepha took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, Be kind to yourself, master, this shall not be to you. And he turned and said to Kepha, Get behind me, Satan, you are a stumbling block to me, for your thoughts are not those of Elohim, but those of men. And Yeshua said to his tall ones, If anyone wishes to come after me, let him deny himself, and take up his stake and follow me. For whoever wishes to save his life shall lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake shall find it. For what is a man profited if he gains all the world and loses his own life? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his life? For the Son of Man is going to come in the esteem of his Father with his messengers, and then he shall reward each according to his works. Truly I say to you, there are some standing here who shall not taste death at all until they see the Son of Man coming in his reign. It's also Psalm 62:12 and Mish 24:12. Not sure what Mish is. Proverbs 24:12. So we'll be doing that in just a couple days. The rock here is belief. The rock is not physically Peter. And also I say to you that you are Kepha, and on this rock I shall build my assembly. So you are rock. He's nicknaming him rock. You are the rock. You are the rock of belief. One who has your belief will make it into heaven. And will be given the reins of the heavens, will be trusted with the reins of the heavens. Because he is asking him first, who do men say the Son of Man is? Some say Yohanan the Immerser, and others Eliyahu, and others Yirmiyahu, or one of the prophets. So some people already think that the Messiah came. And he asked Peter, who do you say I am? Peter says, you are the Messiah, the Son of the living Elohim. His response is, blessed are you, Shimon Bar Yonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father in the heavens. Because it's been disclosed in his heart that Yeshua is the Messiah. He gets it. And he's walking around following Yeshua. And these other men that he's asking about, their witness of flesh and blood, they need to see to believe instead of feeling it in their heart. The revelation that comes through prayer. Yeah. The rock of the assembly is the belief and the heart condition. Of love for Messiah. We're going to need more prophetic context to really unpack this, so we're going to come back to it a couple more times. But this Son of Man, this is also written as the son of Adam, and we have the genealogy in Matthew, but I just want to endow the ascription of current or prophetic. if it's current, they're saying that he's just an embodiment of one of these people. If it's prophetic, it is that this person has been and was and is not he. And Peter says back, "You are the Messiah." The question gets changed. Who do men say the Son of Man is? Generally, what is the requirement of the Son of Man? Some say Yohanan the Immerser, and others Eliyahu, and others Yirmiyahu or one of the prophets. And he said to them, "And you, who do you say I am?" And Shimon Kepha answering said, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living Elohim." Who do men say the Son of Man is? Son of Man would have the characteristics of John the Baptist or Elijah or Jeremiah. And he says, "Well, who do you say I am?" You are the Messiah. So all of these men, they're still just men. You are the Messiah. Okay. Into your hand I commit my spirit. This was, when I was looking up, trying to find an instrumental for Psalm 31, this was what came up recurringly as a part of the song. I commit my spirit to you. I commit my spirit to you. I commit my spirit to you. Like, take over my spirit and replace it with your set apart spirit. You have redeemed me. Oh Yahweh, El of truth. John 12. Nope, John 14. 16, and I shall ask the Father, and he shall give you another helper to stay with you forever, the Spirit of the truth, whom the world is unable to receive because it does not see him or know him. But you know him, for he stays with you and shall be in you. I'm going to send Heather my YouTube channel. This channel right here. I have hated those who observe lying vanities. That's just a flex. That's just a work statement. He's like, do I not hate what you hate with a righteous hatred? We'll get to that one too. But I trust in Yahweh. I exult and rejoice in your loving commitment. Exodus 34:6. This is going to come back up, so let's read it now. And Yahweh passed before him and proclaimed, Yahweh, Yahweh, an Elohim, an El compassionate, and showing favor, patient, and great in loving commitment and truth, watching over loving commitment for thousands, forgiving crookedness and transgression and sin, but by no means leaving unpunished, visiting the crookedness of the fathers upon the children and the children's children to the third and the fourth generation. And this whole psalm is just a 24-verse explanation of those two verses. David's life-living example, the loving commitment. We're going to get to the forgiveness of crookedness. We're going to get to the, punishment of the crooked. We're going to get to so much. There's so much of that verse in here. For you have seen my affliction. You have known the distresses of my life. Not that there wasn't distresses, but that he knows them and he stewards you through them. He guides you. He loves you. And you have not shut me up into the hand of the enemy. Praise Yahweh. You have set my feet in a large place. Presumably this is a spacious, glorious palace type deal. That's what it means by large place. Could be wrong, but show me favor, O Yahweh, for I am in distress. My eye, my being, and my body have become old with grief. And so, as we're reading this, this is like similar to the Our Father. He starts out giving credit to El, and now he says what he needs. Not completely archetypal of the Our Father, but gives credit to El and then asks for something. Show me favor, for I am in distress, O Yahweh. Show me favor, O Yahweh, for I am in distress. My eye and my being and my body have become old with grief, for my life is consumed in sorrow, and my years in sighing. My strength fails because of my crookedness, and my bones have become old. And, I guess that's timeline for this. We don't necessarily know that Psalm 31 was written in the 31st year of David's life, and then Psalm 150 was written in the 150th year. This could very well have been one of his later Psalms. We really don't know how they were organized or their organization chosen or what, but the Hebrews did it, the Jews did it at some point. I am a reproach among all my adversaries, but most of all among my neighbors, and a dread to my friends. Those who see me outside flee from me. This is a terrible feeling if you've ever had this happen. This is not out of fear, this is out of reproach. And this is just a Psalm 15, Yahuwah, who does sojourn in your tent? Who does dwell in your set-apart mountain? He who walks blamelessly and does righteousness, and speaks the truth in his heart. He is not slandered with his tongue. He has not done evil to his neighbor, nor lifted up a reproach against his friend. In whose eyes a reprobate one is despised, but he esteems those who fear Yahuwah. He who swears to his own hurt and does not change, he has not put out his silver at interest and has not taken a bribe against the innocent. He who does these is never moved. This is that feeling where, you've done something wrong. Just say, you drank way too much, and, that one time that you do it in the year, everybody's kind of like, ah, ha, ha, oh, or, it's Thanksgiving or whatever day, you decide to, 4th of July, you decide to party it up. Everybody knows that you're hungover that day. They kind of make a joke out of it, but, if you're somebody who's generally responsible and then you start showing up to work hungover or drunk all the time, this is that feeling, that they see you doing something wrong. This is the unavoidability of the spirit, in that they know, and you see this, women are so critical nowadays, but it is judgment of the spirit and your ability to follow it and stay in it. And this is why we so don't appreciate how many people have the spirit and don't have Jesus yet. They don't claim Messiah. They don't know Elohim. They've never picked up the book, but yet they have the Holy Spirit. Why? Because they have belief. They have faith. And especially when you're in distress, when you're downtrodden, when you're feeling really weak, other flesh can pick on that. I am a reproach among all my adversaries, but most of all among my neighbors. So it hits harder when it's your neighbors. Your adversaries, they're supposed to hate you. They're your enemies. You know, they've got a reason to. Whatever their reason is. But they diligently seek cause for your destruction. And a dread to my friends. Yeah. If you've ever had family pissed at you and you're like, I'm trying to do something good and they're just not getting it. And they're just not getting it to the degree that, like, they feel like you're violating them by the way that you're treating them, and you're seeing, like, work was the big thing here. It was like I would never take off work for anything, and I see now how much, like, I didn't love my friends, I didn't love my family, to not go spend time with them. Stop what you're doing. Who cares about the business? Go spend time with some people sometimes. And it's good for you. It is refreshing for you. You need it. It's uplifting, you know, but there's also that need for, at least for me, work solitude, you know, to where you're just in go mode. You're productive. You're purposeful. And this is obviously different than work. Probably years of labor that he's describing, but we'll see how this shakes out in the rest of the psalm. Those who see me outside flee from me. I don't even want anything to do with him. Imagine that. King David. People flee from him. Probably angry, he's bitter, he's grumpy, old, telling those kids to get off his porch. He's got piles of gold and timber to build a house of YHWH, and he can't do it. He's got nothing. He's conquered. What does this man not have? And he's growing old and aged. I have been forgotten like someone dead from the heart. Dead from the heart. Romans 12. I call upon you, therefore, brothers, through the compassion of Elohim, to present your bodies a living offering, set apart, well-pleasing to Elohim, your reasonable worship. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you prove what is that good and well-pleasing and perfect desire of Elohim. For I say, through the favor which has been given to me, to everyone who is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he should think, but to think soberly, as Elohim has given to each a measure of belief. For as we have many members in one body, but all members do not have the same function, so we, the many, are one body in Messiah, and members each one of another. Romans 5:17, for if by the trespass of the one death did reign through the one, much more those who receive the overflowing favor and the gift of righteousness shall reign in life through the one Yeshua Messiah. It's all about the life. All about the life. So then, as through one trespass there resulted condemnation to all men, so also through one righteous act there resulted righteous declaring of life to all men. For as through the disobedience of one man many were made sinners, so also through the obedience of the one many shall be made righteous. And the Torah came in besides, so that the trespass would increase, but where sin increased, favor increased still more, so that as sin did reign in death, even so favor might reign through righteousness to everlasting life through Yeshua Messiah our Master. So that as sin did reign in death, even so favor might reign through righteousness to everlasting life through Yeshua Messiah our Master. It's short-sighted of me when I accentuate certain words just to prove my point. So I'm just learning this now. We come alive in Messiah. There should be excitement in our life. There should be joy. If what you're doing is not bringing you joy, and I do genuinely wonder of like cleanness of heart versus joy, because if you're just sad and clean of heart, I don't see a point to that. You want to keep your heart clean, but they go hand in hand. They have to, because you're living, and Yeshua's living through you, God's living through you, so you're living a life for God as he lives through all of us. Not in some weird new age. We are God, but in some, he created us from dust. I have been like a missing vessel, for I hear the evil report of many. Fear is from all around. He's forgotten. He feels that, I'm picturing Gran Torino, where he's just this badass war veteran. People don't even recognize him anymore. They're like, "Who are you, old man?" He's like, "I'm your king." And they're like, "Dawid?" And he's like, "Yes, my son." At least until Messiah's king. Or, Solomon. I hear the evil report of many. Fear is from all around. When they take counsel together against me, they plot to take away my life. But I have put my trust in you, O Yahweh. I have said, you are my Elohim. My times are in your hand. Deliver me from the hand of my enemies, and from those who pursue me. Make your face shine upon your servant. Oh, man. We've got 2 units here. Matthew 17. We made it. And after 6 days, Yeshua took Kepha and Jacob and Yohanan his brother, and brought them up on a high mountain by themselves, and he was transformed before them. And his face shone like the sun, and his garments became as white as the light. His face shone. Get that glow. You know, when you're like that fasting glow, when you're in fasting and prayer, and you can just see this radiation coming from somebody. You can see this on, like I said, you know, the Spirit. People who are diligently in their word. People who are like, they're so worked up about the sermon today that they've been praying all morning, and they have the faith that it's going to work out, that it's going to be right. Where is this? Exodus 35:28 we'll start at. And he was there with Yahuwah 40 days and 40 nights. He did not eat bread, he did not eat bread, and he did not drink water. And he wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant, the 10 words. And it came to be, when Moshe came down from Mount Sinai, while the 2 tablets of the witness were in Moshe's hand, when he came down from the mountain, that Moshe did not know that the skin of his face shone, since he had spoken with him. So there's just this radiant glow. Like, man, you can't even. Aaron and all the children of Israel looked at Moshe and saw the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come near him. But Moshe called out to them, and Aaron and all the rulers of the congregation returned to him, and Moshe spoke to them. And afterward all the children of Israel came near, and he commanded them all that Yahweh had spoken with him on Mount Sinai. And when Moshe ended speaking with them, he put a veil on his face. But whenever Moshe went in before Yahweh to speak with him, he would remove the veil until he came out. And when he came out, he spoke to the children of Israel what he had been commanded, and the children of Israel would see the face of Moshe, that the skin of Moshe's face shone. And Moshe would put the veil on his face again until he went in to speak with him. It's a recurring thing, because of this is testimony. Like, you just glow when you're doing these things for Elohim. They're undeniable. And people who are plagued by dark spirits, if you get in their face, they let them look you in your eyes. You'll see the spirit leave them, that darkness. Praise Yahuwah. Make your face shine upon your servant, which is the reciprocal nature of how a man's face will shine. Save me in your loving commitment. Do not let me be ashamed, O Yahuwah, for I have called upon you. Let the wrong be ashamed. Let them be silenced in Sheol. Let the lips of falsehood be stilled, which speak recklessly against the righteous. You shall be hated for my name's sake. Which is, I know, somewhere in Matthew. All who have been hated for my name's sake. We're just going to read this real quick. Matthew 22:41. And when the Pharisees were gathered together, Yeshua asked them, saying, "What do you think concerning the Messiah? Whose son is he?" They said to him, "The son of David." And he said to them, "Then how does David in the Spirit call him Master, saying, Yahweh said to my Master, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool of your feet? If then David calls him Master, how is he his son?" And no one was able to answer him a word. And from that day on, no one was bold enough to ask him any more questions. He walks up to them and asks them, "So guys, tell me, John 15, no longer do I call you servants, for a servant does not know what his master is doing. But I have called you friends, for all teachings which I heard from my Father I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should remain, so that whatever you ask the Father in my name, he might give you. These words I command you, so that you love one another. If the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love its own. But because you are not of the world, but I chose you out of the world, for that reason the world hates you. Remember the word that I said to you, a servant is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they shall persecute you too. If they have guarded my word, they would guard yours too. But all this they shall do to you because of my name, because they do not know him who sent me. If I had not come and spoken to them, they would have no sin, but now they have no excuse for their sin. He who hates me hates my Father as well. If I did not do among them the works which no one else did, they would have no sin, but now they have both seen and have hated both me and my Father. But that the word might be filled which was written in the Torah, they hated me without cause. When the Helper comes, whom I shall send you from the Father, the Spirit of the truth, who comes from the Father, he shall bear witness of me. But you also bear witness, because you have been with me from the beginning. Let lips of falsehood be stilled, which speak recklessly against the righteous, with pride and scorn. How great is your goodness, which you have hidden from those fearing you. We talked about a proud heart. Maybe it was Proverbs 21. The sovereign's heart is as channels of water in the hands of Yahuwah. He turns it wherever he wishes. All a man's ways are right in his own eyes, but Yahuwah weighs the heart. To do righteousness and right ruling is more acceptable to Yahuwah than a slaughtering. A haughty look, a proud heart, the lamp of the wrong are sin. The plans of the hard worker lead only to plenty, but all rash haste only to poverty. Yeah. We read that today. In Proverbs 21. With pride and scorn, how great is your goodness, which you have hidden from those fearing you, which you have prepared for those taking refuge in you, in the sight of the sons of men. Which you have hidden for those fearing you. I misread that. Which you have prepared for those taking refuge in you, in the sight of the sons of men. You shall conceal them in the concealment of your presence. You shall hide them from the plots of man in a shelter from the strife of tongues. Going back to the house from verse 2. Blessed be Yahuwah, for he has made marvelous his loving commitment to me in a strong city. That physical protection of the wall, the defense of the house of Elohim, shelter from the strife of tongues. See, and it does suck because it's like we're supposed to be set apart, but we're also supposed to be a light to the world, you know? And so, just like I was talking about the grocery store, you know, when you have to go to the grocery store, you go, but I don't think that we're, you know, not necessarily supposed to be homebodies. You know, I think that there's a lot of good that happens at home, you know, in isolation with Elohim. But you have to be with Elohim. You can't be isolated and, you know, reckless. Or recluse, for that matter. And I have said in my haste, I am cut off from before your eyes. Yet you heard the voice of my prayers when I cried out to you. I'm cut off from before your eyes. Yet you heard the voice of my prayers when I cried out to you. He's listening. Exodus 3:7 and Revelation 8:4. Love Yahuwah, all you lovingly committed ones, for Yahuwah guards the trustworthy ones and exceedingly repays the doer of pride. Contrast there. Vengeance is mine, so saith the Lord. Be strong and let him fortify your heart, all you who are waiting for Yahuwah. Man, waiting for Yahuwah. Alright, we'll find it when we come to it. I might be thinking of this other verse. 1 Corinthians 1:7, so that you are not lacking in any gift, eagerly waiting for the revelation, not the return. Oh yeah, we're gonna get into Psalm 32. Woo. I enjoy the taste of coffee. I'm about to open some Moose Run. Maybe there will be a new flavor of Moose Run in my future. They often do sales in their Believers, so if you need great coffee, it's expensive, but you can get it on sale. And I mean, like, you end up with like, I think it's like 5 pots of coffee per 12-ounce bag, which is like, I don't know, a day or two's worth of coffee for me. But if you think about the $3 that you're going to spend on a black coffee and the $9 you're going to spend at Dunkin' Donuts, you're saving a whole bunch of money. And the coffee's fucking phenomenal. Moose Run coffee. Blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven, whose sin is covered. Blessed is the man to whom Yahweh imputes no crookedness, and in whose spirit there is no deceit. When I kept silent, my bones became old. Through my groaning all the day, for day and night your hand was heavy upon me. My sap was turned into the droughts of summer. Selah. I acknowledged my sin to you, and my crookedness I did not hide. I have said, I confess my transgressions to Yahweh, and you forgave the crookedness of my sin. Selah. Therefore, let every lovingly committed one pray to you. While you might be found even in a flood of great waters, they would not reach him. You are my concealment. You preserve me from distress. You surround me with songs of deliverance. Selah. Let me instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. Let me counsel. My eye be on you. Do not be like the horse, like the mule, with no understanding, with bit and bridle, else they do not come near you. Many are the sorrows of the wrong, but as for the one trusting in Yahweh, loving commitment surrounds him. Be glad in Yahweh and exult, you righteous, and shout for joy, all you upright in heart. Blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven. Yeah, we've got Messiah for that now, but seriously, blessed is he. Because that, not only the repentance is required, the humbling, the circumcision of the heart, the humility, those are all characteristics of a man who will be blessed by El. And the also in turn blessing by forgiveness, whose sin is covered, now it is, by the blood of the Lamb. Back then it was the blood of the Lamb too, but this is the capital L Lamb. Blessed is the man to whom Yahweh imputes no crookedness, and in whose spirit there is no deceit. Now this is take it to the Hebrew. It might be Peter. Okay. 1 Peter chapter 2, 21. For to this you were called, because Messiah also suffered for us, leaving us an example that you should follow in his steps, which in itself has that one verse has a whole bunch of references. Who committed no sin, nor was deceit found in his mouth. Who being reviled did not revile in return, suffering did not threaten, but committed himself to him who judges righteously, who himself bore our sins in his body on the timber, so that we, having died to sins, might live unto righteousness, by whose stripes you were healed. For you were like sheep going astray, but now return to the shepherd and overseer of your beings. So this is Isaiah 53:9, which we will go to. And in whose spirit there is no deceit. It's characteristic of Messiah. That is why, like, we look up to him. That is why we reference him and his actions, in order that we act like him. Who has believed our report, and to whom was the arm of Yahweh revealed? For he grew up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of dry ground. He has no form or splendor that we should look upon him, nor appearance that we should desire him. Despised and rejected by men, a man of pains and knowing sickness, and as one from whom the face is hidden, being despised, and we did not consider him. Truly he has borne our sicknesses and carried our pains. Yet we reckoned him smitten, stricken by Elohim, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our crookednesses. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed. We all, like sheep, went astray. Each one of us has turned to his own way, and Yahuwah has laid on him the crookedness of all of us all. I can't wait to read the context of this, because this is like something that Isaiah's seen. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, but he did not open his mouth. He was led as a lamb to the slaughter, and as sheep before its shearer is silent, he did not open his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment, and as for his generation, who considered that he shall be cut off from the land of the living? For the transgression of my people he was stricken, and he was appointed a burial site with the wrong and with the rich at his death, because he had done no violence, nor was deceit found in his mouth. But Yahweh was pleased to crush him. He laid sickness on him, that when he made himself an offering for guilt, he would see a seed. He would prolong his days, and the pleasure of Yahweh prosper in his hand. He would see the result of the suffering and of his life, and be satisfied. Through his knowledge my righteous servant makes many righteous, and he bears their crookednesses. Therefore I give him a portion among the great, and he divides the spoil with the strong, because he poured out his being unto death. And he was counted with the transgressors, and he bore the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. Okay. In whose spirit there is no deceit. When I kept silent, my bones became old. Through my groaning all the day. You know, again, characteristic of Messiah, when I kept silent, my bones became old. For day and night your hand was heavy upon me. My sap was turned into the droughts of summer. When Yahuwah has a heavy hand upon you, it's a lot of weight, This is not something that's easy. It's not easy. It is a pressure, you know. It is just a, like, you can feel his hand upon you. And there's a righteous performance, expectation of performance there, you know. I acknowledged my sin to you, and my crookedness I did not hide. Can't hide anything from Yahuwah, but David's got a couple of major sins that he acknowledges, you know, and that's what we need to do, is say we fucked up. You know, like, it's so much easier when you just apologize. And same thing, like, with people, you know what I mean? Just say, I fucked up, and that's it. You know, I'm sorry. I will not do it again. I will do better next time. Therefore, let every lovingly committed one pray to you. Psalm 31:23, love Yahuwah, all you his lovingly committed ones. While you might be found, even in a flood of great waters, they would not reach him. Prayers would not reach a man in a flood of great waters. You are my concealment. You preserve me from distress. You know, we don't know exactly what time this is, you know. And again, we don't know chronologically. But if this is, you know, between, like we said, that 26-27 was about the time that he was building the house of Yahuwah, or tried to build the house of Yahuwah, then this could be, you know, coming into Chronicles 18, 1 Chronicles 18, 19, which we don't get the exact timeline of Bathsheba, but this could be this, you know. A dread to my friends. You've not shut me up into the hand of my enemy, into the hand of the enemy. He sends plague on the people. Again, going back to the added context that we receive from having stories of David's life, 4 books of David's life and 150 Psalms, so we can kind of, you know, use clues, context clues to figure out where we're at. But then 32 coming into his forgiveness. You surround me with songs of deliverance. And this is where Yahuwah responds to David. Let me instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. Let me counsel, my eye be on you. He's going to literally watch over him. Like, personally, he watches over David. The creator of the universe. And personally, he watches over you too. Let me counsel, my eye be on you. Do not be like the horse, like the mule, with no understanding, with bit and bridle, else they do not come near you. the bridle of the horse is the nose part, the part that goes over the nose, and he's saying do not be like the horse, because they can't, like, it's very difficult to ride a horse bareback, and especially like if you don't have reins, like you bridle and that's where you attach the reins is to the top and like to the snout, I don't know what they're called, the nose, that lets you control it, so if you are trying to ride a horse without reins, they don't have the understanding to allow you to do that. Else they do not come near you. You need to have the reins and grab them. Yeah, Elohim needs to have the rein, and if he doesn't have that, bridle control, then you're pretty much just a loose cannon cop who doesn't play by the rules. Literally the reins of the heavens, and yeah, it's control, it's authority, it's power, it's dominance, in a metaphor to a horse. Else they do not come near you. Many are the sorrows of the wrong, but as for the one trusting in Yahuwah, loving commitment surrounds him. Be glad in Yahuwah and exult, you righteous. Give Yahuwah his due. Be glad in Yahuwah. Ooh. Be glad in Yahuwah. Blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven. Psalm 32:1. And shout for joy, all you upright in heart. Joyous be to the Master, Yahuwah Elohim. Your heart makes me rejoice. I love you, Yahuwah. I praise you, Yahuwah. And whether I'm reading the Word or washing my car or planting my garden or going to sleep, let me remain upright in heart, that it be filled with joy, your joy, and that the joy of Messiah be completed in me. John 15:10. If you guard my commands, you shall stay in my love. If you guard my commands, you shall stay in my love, even as I have guarded my Father's commands and stay in his love. These words I have spoken to you so that my joy might be in you and that your joy might be complete. This is my command, that you love one another as I have loved you. Rejoice in the heart condition.